I'm Julian Vickers from Arbortrim Training. I'm here at beautiful Bayside, Melbourne, here with a citywide chipper, a Vermeer 18-inch chipper, and I'm going to run through the pre-operational checks. Firstly, I'm going to start off with disconnecting the tow hitch from the vehicle. So first things we need to do is we need to chock the wheels. Alright, ideally you'd have two chocks, but because we're on a slight hill and it's not really going to move anywhere, it's not too much of a hill, one chock on the sloping side will do. So I'll put a chock here so the vehicle's not going to move. Okay, I come back around to the other side here where I'm going to do the jack up till it just starts to touch the ground. From here we flick this down, that frees this bit, push that down as far as it goes, then flick that up. Then from here I start winding till it starts to take the weight off. That'll probably do about there. From here, I disconnect all the power plugs here. Disconnect. This here is called the breakaway switch, this cable that goes here. This is if the chipper becomes disconnected, it locks the drum brakes on and the chipper doesn't move. So this just needs to come out here like this. And then the next thing we do, because it's all safe, I'll move this up here because we don't want that connected in there, is we get the ring feeder, which is this. You can have things called pintle hooks as well, but this is a ring feeder, and we lift that up. And then I continue to wind up the jack. I leave the chains connected because that's the last thing that's, if anything's not connected properly, the chains is what's going to hold it in place. Okay. Then the last thing I know that it's not going to go anywhere, I disconnect the safety chains here, out like that. So what I'm doing here is I'm disconnecting the pin here, so the chain drops to the ground, and then I get this pin here and I put it back in so you don't lose it again. Okay, what we're going to do here is we're going to reconnect the chipper to the truck. The best thing is to confirm the hand signals with the driver before you start this, so there's no confusion. Hand signals can be whatever you've come up with. The big thing is here, safety wise, is you don't get in between the chipper and the truck itself. Make sure that you're standing on the driver's side and you can see the driver in the mirror so they can see you. Now we're going to reconnect. All good, it's locked in place. Okay, what you need to do here is now visually inspect that it's all connected properly. You can see if these pins have gone in, these pins here, it means that it's properly attached. If they're sticking out, it's not. And just visually inspect that the pin here is in properly. So we're all happy with that. Next step is we put the chains back on. So from here, I'll pull this out, and you got to make sure that the chains cross over. That's imperative. In case the chipper inadvertently becomes disconnected, it's the chains that's going to hold the drawbar in place. Just like that. Then the next step we'll do is we'll hook up all the electrics. Just like so. And then the breakaway switch here needs to be connected onto here. Very important. And then the next thing we do is the jack. So I hold down, have my foot on there, take the jack up till it's just off the ground, have your foot on the bottom of the plate, push that down and let it slowly come up like that. Then wind it up for what it's left That looks like it's it. Clips in place like so. Removing of the chock once you've finished your reconnection of the chipper onto the truck itself. Okay, now what we're going to go through is checking the air filter on the machine itself. So first thing we do is we clear out the sediment bowl, which is this bit here. If you've been chipping up stuff like London plain or paper bark, stuff like that, you'll get a lot of dust will form in here. It's pretty important that you've got to clean it out every day, sometimes 2-3 times a day, depending on what you're chipping. So this bit comes off here. Make sure everything stays together so you don't lose it. Here's a sediment bowl here, and give it a tap out against the spare wheel, like that. Slight little tap, so it's all clear. That's that bit done. Or you could use a rag even if you wanted. Make sure it all lines up properly so it fits in place. And then the next thing we do is we check the secondary filter, which is in here. This is important that you put this back together properly as well. So you hold that up, twist it like that, that comes out there like that. You can see there's a little bit of stuff in here. And we do the same thing again, we just tap it against the spare wheel, give it a slight tap, so all the stuff comes out. This is very clean, this filter. But you can also blow it out with the blower from this side out. You don't blow it back in, you blow it in here out. All good? And this is the tertiary filter. This is your last little line of defense here. You can give that a tap out as well, but that should be pretty good. We'll give it a quick go now. It looks pretty good to me. Okay, put all this back together. You can see when you put this back on, this should always face the bottom. So put it on here. Locked in place. This little controller here adjusts the speed of the feed rollers. That allows the branches to go in, adjusts the speed of it. So this lines out and you move it to whichever way you want. Obviously the turtle is slower, the rabbit is faster. Okay, this is the feed tray here, the feed table. Whenever you're feeding a chipper, you always feed from the side. Always from the side. Never feed from the rear. This chipper is fitted with the bump stop here, which is this red bar here. So if anything happens, you inadvertently get fed in for whatever reason, you hit this and it stops the feed rollers, stops you from getting fed into the chipper. That would not be a good thing. So this whole area here, you do not go anywhere near. You always feed from the side. You can see on these decals here, it says not to use gauntlet style gloves here. It's ideal that you use tight fitting gloves around the wrist. No riggers gloves, nothing like that. Make sure that it's tight fitting, not gauntlet style. Alright, this bit here is the forward reverse lever. Push it all the way towards the truck, that's reverse. All the way towards you is forwards, that's the feed rollers. Come around the back here. Once the machine started, you'll see these are the feed rollers here, just in there. That's what the branches go in. These are vertical feed rollers. The Bandit models are horizontal and they have lift and crush feature for lifting up, for throwing big logs in. Very important as one of your pre-op checks is that you check that your bump stop is working. So once it's in, the rollers should stop. We'll go through that once the machine started in more detail. As part of your pre-operational checks too, you're checking the tyre condition. Make sure the tyres don't have any scuffs or anything on them. There's no damage to the sidewall and the tyres are in good condition, plenty of tread. From here we're going to check our fuel. This machine runs on diesel. Some of your smaller machines run on petrol. Obviously you've got a little gauge here. This has got just over half a tank. You've got your hydraulic oil here as well. There's a little dipstick there. I can see there's oil on the dipstick, so it's right for hydraulic oil because it runs on hydraulic and belt driven. Grease points, it'll say on the operator's manual how many pumps you need to do with a grease gun. Pretty simple. The grease gun goes onto the nipple and pump it like so. Ensure the face of the radiator is clean, especially if you're chipping up dirty material, chipping up dirty kind of timber and stuff like that, paper barks, London planes, things like that. Make sure this is clear, because this is the main, obviously the radiator is what cools the engine. Okay, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to get into the engine bay and show you what you check in the engine bay. Pretty simple checks. Just undo the latches here. There's a latch here and a latch here. Pull it open and you've got your dipstick here, and you check the dipstick. Make sure it's right. This has been sitting for a while, so it's going to read pretty true. There's plenty of oil in there. Basically checking the connections on your battery as well. Making sure the battery connections are all good. Yep, they look all good. Battery's in here. Battery's all connected, yeah. There's no corrosion on the terminals. Your belts are all good. And you blow all the dust out of the engine. You don't blow it in. That's the end of the pre-operational checks. Now we're going to go on site and do some chipping. Okay, when on site, ensure you're wearing the correct PPE. The PPE required for chipping includes a hard hat, earmuffs, safety glasses, face shield, long sleeve high vis shirt or jacket, chainsaw pants or chaps, steel cap boots and tight fitting gloves. Now we're out on site, ready to commence chipping. First things we need to take care of is traffic management. So if you look behind me, I've placed cones and a sign out on site. Traffic management's ready to go. Before starting the engine, the feed tray goes down, and ensure there's nothing in the feed tray before you commence chipping. Also, it's good practice to push the bump stop in like this, so the feed rollers won't be engaged at startup. Also too, on the older machines, you can make sure they're either in neutral or reverse on the startup. Now from here, what I'm going to do now is, now that I've done all of my pre-operational checks, I'm ready to start the chipper and commence chipping. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start the machine. I turn the key. Wait for everything to go through. You can check the information board here and it'll go through everything that needs the trip computer, oil pressure, obviously it's not started so it'll say nothing, the temperature in Fahrenheit, volts, 12.5 volts, and everything else. Back to the hour meter. So we're all good, we can start the motor. Turn the key. Once we've turned the key, we're listening for any abnormal noises. Let it warm up for a bit. Because it's a turbo diesel engine, you can't put the revs up straight away. You need to let it warm up. We also make sure that the flashing lights are turned on, like so. You see the flashing lights. This is a smart feed system. You adjust it for whatever you're chipping. We're just doing normal leaf, a few branches. We'll have it on the fast setting. This is for logwood when you're doing removals. We've let the engine warm up long enough, we can engage the clutch. This is the clutch here. Pull it out and across. Slowly let it come up. Once again, you listen for any abnormal noises. Sounds all good to me. So we can turn the revs up. This button here. The light's flashing. I need to hit the green go button and the feed rollers will start feeding. Forward, reverse, reverse. start. Then we come to the back and close up the chipper. And turn off the machine. Once the machine's cooled down, turn off the machine. Within the operator's manual, it will have all the preventative maintenance that you need to do and the pre-op checks, including greasing. If you're not too sure, refer to the manual or speak to an experienced operator. Now we prepare to move on, packing away the traffic management equipment. Thanks for taking the time to watch this video. Find out more about Arbortrim by visiting our website at www.arbortrim.com.au.